blind and visually impaired community is made up of people from basically every single walk of life, and amongst that are some very creative people as well. So I talked to 5 blind and visually impaired individuals who, well, are exactly that. Hey folks, so recently I was a guest on a podcast called P.S. I'm Blind. And on there, I took part in a roundtable discussion with the 5 different hosts of the show, and we talked about topics like the representation of disability and blindness in film and TV. We also talked about various other topics that related to blindness, and just had a good old discussion, really. I really enjoyed myself being on there. It was a lot of fun, and I could have talked to those guys just all day, really. Here's a little excerpt.
There's not really many stories where there's someone who is disabled, but the story's not to do with their disability. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what
not
we were
the
saying,
primary
what we were
focus.
saying earlier, wasn't it? About the fact that the right way you do the exposure is have a disabled person in there, but don't make the whole story about his disability. Don't make that character just blind, just paraplegic, just deaf. Make him, I don't know, just a part of the story. Make him, I don't know, the murder suspect, or make him an extra, or make him like a blind, I guess, a blind detective. You could do a blind detective, couldn't you? Can blind people be detectives?
Well, why not?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, or
Has
the guy who
anyone
does
seen-
interrogations, or like anything basically. It just don't make it about his blindness. Just have that there and then move on.
And if you want to check out the rest, I'm going to leave a link to the full podcast in the description below. So I asked them if they can be on my channel to keep the discussion going, but with different topics. So here we decided to talk about diversity and creativity in the blind community. And this group is a very diverse group, and that's what I really liked about them. They're also very creative. They all have a creative side to them, and I thought it would be interesting and important to talk about the topic of if you're disabled and you want to pursue something creative, but then you're discouraged to not do that. So here's my interview with Sam, Kevin, Ree, Agon, and Mariam. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back. And as you can see, I have 5 different guests on here. If you don't know who they are, these are the folks behind the podcast called P.S. I'm Blind. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves and what is, your eye condition, or just give yourselves a little bit of a summary of who you are.
Hi everyone, I'm Ree. I have PPCD, which is posterior polymorphous corneal dystrophy. I have just graduated from zoology, and I am going to be moving house soon, and that's pretty much all you need to know about me.
Hi guys, I'm Agon. I'm 25. I have cone rod dystrophy, which is a retinal disorder, and I recently graduated, got a degree in politics, and I love playing video games. I'm a blind gamer.
Hi guys, my name's Kevin. I have an eye condition called retinopathy of prematurity. I was basically born premature. I lost my sight in an incubator. I'm a musician, and I also work in digital marketing.
Hi everyone, I'm Mariam. My eye condition is called retinoblastoma. I lost the sight in my left eye when I was 3 and the sight in my right eye when I was 5 years old. I'm just about to finish an undergraduate degree in sociology, fingers crossed. And my hobbies include gardening, which is a newfound hobby, dogs, I love dogs, and rock climbing and swimming.
Hi everyone, my name is Sam. I lost my sight completely at the age of 12 due to something called, it's type of retinal dystrophy. Interestingly enough, no one specified what type it was. I love reading and I am a writer. I keep telling that to myself and I'll believe it at some point, I'm sure.
Well, I'm glad to have all you guys on here. Basically, P.S. I'm Blind is a relatively new podcast, and I ran into it almost at the same time it began. And I listened to the first few episodes, and what I liked the most about it was that there was this kind of roundtable discussion atmosphere, talking about different topics. They had some guests here and there. Actually, Ree was one of the guests earlier. She recently joined the team. And I'm curious, though, as far as the podcast is concerned, like whose idea was it to start this off in the first place, and why the name PS I'm Blind?
The podcast idea came literally from me and Agon going on holiday to Orlando. And it actually didn't start off as a podcast. We wanted to vlog traveling, blind people traveling, and showing that it was possible and how we might get around certain challenges. But obviously, as students, we didn't really travel that often. So we wouldn't have been posting very much. So we thought, what can we do that will include traveling and showing, that we might be visually impaired or blind, but that's not the be all and end all of our lives. Although our visual impairment might shape many of our experiences, it doesn't define who we are as people. And the name, that was actually Agon's idea. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. I mean, originally, I'll talk a bit about my vision for what I think PS I'm Blind can still be, and what I wanted it to be from when we sat down. I remember we were sitting down in my living room a few years ago. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And it was me, you, and then I think it was Kevin as well.
Yeah.
Where we were just
Kevin
talking
in.
about it, and we were bouncing ideas off each other. And I was like, I want one day PS I'm Blind to be a platform for loads of different things. We could do like videos. We could do a podcast every week. Then we could do stuff like blind gadget reviews, like tech reviews, things like that. Like it would just grow into this big overall platform where people could just go to and would be like part of the community. And then we could start doing events if we get enough interest behind it. The podcast itself, I genuinely just wanted to do because I love debating as well. I wanted to be like every week we bring a topic, everyone brings a topic of discussion, and we just put it in front of everyone. However, like good, bad, ugly, whatever it is, we would just put it in front of us and we examine it, basically. Like that's what I want it to be, and I thought we could get very interesting conversations from that. The blind bit is obviously like the PS, we're blind, which means like I want to focus on loads of other stuff and then be like, oh yeah, and we're blind. I don't want it to be like everything to do with, like, of course it's important to talk about disability and it's important to have those discussions, and we've had a lot of those discussions, but I don't want it to be the be all and end all of our program or our platform, if you know what I mean.
So many people, when they see a blind person, they just look at them and see their visual impairment.
Yeah.
Like that's the first thing that people notice before anything else comes into their brain about that person. And the podcast is trying to flip that narrative and say, by the way, why don't you notice that this person's really talented at something, or that they're tall, or that they're short? Oh, and just, that their visual impairment just happens to be something about them. When you're in your own comfortable environment and things are the way you like them and the way they're set up, I don't know about you guys, but I often forget that I can't see.
The idea just sat there for about 6 months, didn't we? And we didn't really do much about it, I think.
Yeah, other than we opened a YouTube channel, we opened an email, we opened a Twitter and a Facebook, and then they just sat there for like 6 months. Gathering dust.
We brought Sam onto the team because he was really interested, and Sam really wants to talk about books and writing and that sort of level. But I think we a few months had gone past, and I remember I said to you guys, do you know what, we just need to just do it. We can just plonk a recorder in the middle of the table and start talking.
And that's literally what we did. So as many of you might know, if you listen to the podcast, Agon and I lived together, and this was during the World Cup in November 2019, and Sam and Kevin came over just to watch the football and have a good night. And we started talking about, I can't even remember what it was now, but we started really debating amongst each other and putting our perspectives forward, but we were just doing it as friends. And I was like, guys, someone press record, we are podcasting right now, just press record. And that's literally what we did. We all like ran, made some cups of teas, sat around on the sofas here, and Sam, you had your dictaphone, I think, with you. We just put it in the middle of the table and just started chatting.
To be honest, I cannot even remember the topics we discussed other than his dark materials. I swear, half of the topics we discussed I can't remember, honestly.
all I remember is you guys, we were all discussing, and then I was like, guys, and he was so in such a deep, like in-depth conversation that I was like, guys, and you were like, what? Like, I was like, let's record.
Yeah, so I think when you listen to the first episode, it's pretty raw, and it's just what it was. Like, we hardly edited it.
Yeah,
you know, what
no
you hear is
planning.
just literally a group of friends just gathered together, and I think that's been the aim of the podcast.
Even for me and other YouTubers and people who start off, it's like when you go look at the first episode or whatever, you're always gonna cringe. There's no avoiding it. But at the same time, though, if you cringe now, that means you've done a lot since.
Definitely, as an outside person who's kind of joined later, I can see like how much progress the podcast has like made already, and all the changes of things that have happened from, you know, I was a listener right from the first episode. Like, I was kind of aware of what was going on, and like I'd heard about like what everybody wanted to do, and I was a real avid listener, and was really excited about being part of the podcast in terms of coming on as a guest. Just felt really honored to be asked to come on full time, because I really felt as if it had become a bit of a security blanket for me. We're a group of 5 very diverse, different people that do sometimes disagree or have differing opinions, and actually it just shows that we can sit down, have interesting and productive conversations about different topics and still leave as friends, and that actually our disabilities or our impairments don't have really any sway in what we talk about and like who we are.
You actually segued into my second question with that.
Sorry about that.
No, that's great though, actually, because the other thing I like about just these guys in general is that this is a very diverse group, and I really like that. I mean, even when you guys were saying your different eye conditions, it's like nobody has the same thing. I mean, I have RP, and all you guys have something different. So I just think that's really cool, because everyone comes from different backgrounds. I think that's important, because most of the time I think that usually when there's topics about disability or blindness that are being talked about, it's mainly catering to just one demographic. So my question to you guys is, how important is it to be talking about or bringing in diversity when it comes to disability?
I think that's crucial, because disability isn't a one size fits all, the same as visual impairment. Everyone's level of vision is different, and that's going to affect their perception and their experiences. And you can't really cover all those perspectives if you all have the same eye condition. Also, we can sort of check our opinions and learn from each other as well. That's the great thing, that we can have a debate and challenge each other and go, oh, that's interesting.
I'll tell you what, me and Kevin have had some political discussions until, like, these are discussions in the middle of London in some hotel till 3:30 in the morning, like over whiskey and coke. We disagree on a lot of things, but at the end of the day, like, we're really good friends.
But to the point where I think if anyone sort of looked over and saw us debating, going, these guys are not going to walk out of here.
Yeah, our discussion gets like, we call each other idiots and stuff like that. Like, really, we really dig into the topic, like, and tear each other a new one for it. But at the end of the day, we, like, what was it that time where we literally were debating till about 3 in the morning, and then we were like, all right, let's go to the casino.
Yeah, we debated out now. Let's blow some money and
let's go play some blackjack till 7 a.m.
Although we are a very diverse group, and it might seem like we've done this on purpose for the podcast, as if we've tried to make it as diverse as possible, it actually was almost a complete accident. Like, we are really good friends anyway outside of the podcast.
Yeah, I didn't really think of it as
diverse. I didn't think like, right, let's find a diverse group to put a podcast together so we can debate different opinions. That literally wasn't the aim, really. It's just a bonus that it's kind of happened by accident.
It's about the diversity as well, I think, and not just our sort of different conditions, but also as people, like, you know, where we come from, what background we're from, like all the different cultures and things like that, like all of those things shape your experiences. And even two people with exactly the same condition, having come from two different places and different walks of life, we all have different stories, different backgrounds, different everything, and it makes for, you know, really different, like sometimes hilarious, sometimes really, you know, quite shocking, like stories and experiences.
But that's what I like, though. It's like you guys didn't even unconsciously try to make an effort to, oh, let's just make this a diverse group. It's you guys just happened to come together, and that was it. That's, I don't know, I really like that.
That's one of the interesting things about visual impairment, that, you know, like people try and group visually impaired people as one thing, but it's not the case. You know, anyone can have a visual impairment from whatever walk of life. And maybe initially the visual impairment may have brought us together in certain senses because we maybe had visually impaired friends. But like, I don't know, it just, maybe that was the thing that sort of initially maybe like was the thing that brought us together. We met, but very quickly from then on, it was just that almost opened up an opportunity to get to know each other and learn about each other's cultures and stuff like that. You know, in this world that we live in at the moment, people are so entrenched in their echo chambers. There is a real breakdown of debate. You know, people are in the left camp, in the right camp. They're screaming at each other through Twitter. They're saying your opinion is wrong, and people just can't seem to have a dialogue at the moment. And I think that it's actually kind of sad. Yeah. And you know, that needs to be promoted more.
Okay, I should burst your bubble. I mean, for everyone listening, actually, that's not what happened. Everyone had to complete forms and everything. That's like, we're all handpicked for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Everyone auditioned. We're all actors. None of us are actually blind.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty good actors, didn't you know?
And the Oscar award goes to
me. No, you're joking.
So one thing that you guys haven't said, or that I actually didn't say ahead of time, was where are you guys from in particular? Because I mean, obviously, most people are gonna realize that you all sound a lot smarter than I do. So, where are you guys from?
So I was born in Colombia, and I moved to the UK when I was about 3 months old.
I was born here in England. My mum is English, but my dad is originally from Pakistan, and he came over here in his early 20s.
So I am originally from Kosovo. My family moved to England late 90s. We were basically escaping from the Serbian invasion into Kosovo, where they ethnically cleansed loads of people, and it was all very scary. So yeah, we were one way or another managed to get to England, and yeah, been here ever since.
I was born here in the UK, but my family is part English and part Italian. I mean, it's quite watered down and not that exotic particularly, but my mum's side of the family are Italian, and a lot of my Italian relatives still live over there. But yeah, I've lived in the UK all my life.
I was born and grew up in Greece. I left when I was 16, and my parents are from Nigeria. So for them, I think that's moved twice over. And I've been here from, since 2007, ever since.
There's a diversity again, just everybody from different places. So another thing that I noticed is that there's a bit of creativity in this group. Sam, you write? Is that what I heard?
Yes, I am a writer. Like I said, again, I call myself that.
Kevin, you're a musician, right?
Yeah, I play piano, and I'm also a composer.
Okay. Anybody else do anything on the creative side here?
I'm trying my hand at writing as well. It's going very slowly, but I've got some really good ideas down, and yeah, we'll watch this space.
I do occasionally have a little go on the piano. I used to play the piano a lot as a child in secondary school when I had piano lessons, but unfortunately I don't do it as often as I would like. I keep on saying to myself, once I finish this degree, I'm going to put more time into it. So hopefully I will, but occasionally I'll get it out, my keyboard, and have a go.
For me, I mean, I probably used to be more creative than I am now. I used to do a lot of music and singing lessons when I was like back at school and during college and things like that. And I still love to do those things. I still like to belt out a good tune.
Ree is a very good singer, guys.
Oh,
maybe one of these days.
Yeah, I haven't heard you, Ree. Come on. We'll have to write a song.
Go on, sing now. Sing.
Absolutely not. I love to sing. I'm a big poetry boffin, so I really love. I've got quite a stack of poems that I've just written. I've got a real thing for it, so I love to write poetry, and I also love to sketch.
But I'll just like to say, because Sam, you're very modest. You are a great writer, but Sam is also very musical. I just thought I'd put it in there.
Yeah, Sam is a very good
true,
singer,
actually.
and he is very musical.
He's a great jazz singer.
So me and Sam met. I was at school, and he was in the college of that, like the same school. And yeah, we used to play together a lot. Sam, you're a good singer. You can play the piano. You can play the drums.
I kind of wanted to segue into this, and it doesn't just have to be about creativity, but a lot of people who have a disability, they have like something that they really want to do, but then they're discouraged by friends or family because they're disabled to not pursue that. How important do you think it is to just keep doing what you want to do, especially if you have a disability, especially if you have people who are probably doubting you?
So I think it's incredibly important, in the sense that, like, if you have people doubting you, it can really, really knock your confidence. I really always wanted to go into the animal industry one way or another, but obviously when I was younger, and I couldn't see anything at all, people just told me that wasn't an option. And as I got older, that opinion didn't really change, even after my multiple surgeries and like increase in vision and things like that. So I always tried to sort of find another path, and it never led me to anything that I felt happy with and wanted to do for the rest of my life. And eventually I was like, I want to have a look into it. I want to look at what I can do. And I went to an open day for a zoology course, and I was inspired. And here I am 4 years later. I just graduated. I'm a graduate zoologist now. And I think it's so incredibly important to keep hold of what you want to do and keep your vision in mind, because that is part of you as a person. And if you let that go, and if you let others tell you what you can and can't do, only you know your limitations and just, what you're capable of.
I don't know how I can follow that, to be honest. Sorry.
Okay.
No. I was gonna say the only time I've had that is with video games. So when I was younger, obviously I could see much better, and that's how I got into video games, when I could actually see what I was doing. But obviously, the older I've got, the worse my eyesight has got. And some games, it seems like I'm sort of fighting with the game itself to try and see and play it. But I still do it. I still play on there until I get migraines, just because I love gaming so much and it means so much to me. So. It might not be as well as, and I got the degree and stuff like that. It might just be like, I'm going to sit here for 12 hours and play this game. It's the same concept, because I'm like, a lot of people would just not bother, would be like, oh, I can't see it anymore, and would just give up the hobby. But for me, I don't know. I think I love it too much to give it up, and I'm going to keep going until either they make games fully accessible, or I physically can no longer play the game, I guess.
I agree with both of you. I think it is really important to persist. Like you said, other people don't know your limitations. If they're, especially if they don't have any sort of similar impairment to what you do. And it really reminds me of this time. And I was 11 years old, but it's kind of stuck with me. And when I was 11, I really wanted to grow up and be an actress. And I'm not saying that I would have grown up and been an actress if this didn't happen. You know, children change what they want to do all the time. But I just remember, and it's always stuck with me, my ICT teacher, my secondary school, she said to me, blind people can't be actresses. You may as well forget about that. And that always stuck with me. And I did. And I just did. I believed her and I forgot about it. Nearly 15 years later, I see that there are blind actresses and they're doing very well. The point is that other people shouldn't put their perspective of what they think your limitations are on you. You know, people need to find out what they can and can't do, I think, on their own. They have their own journey, and other people shouldn't put their feelings and limitations on, especially a child.
That happened to me when I was just about to go into music college, and I was sort of deciding, do I go into composition? Do I do piano? And this guy who had a very sort of posh teacher was like, oh well, to be honest, you're not good enough. You wouldn't get into any conservatoire at this time. And so I just forgot about it, like you said, and did composition, which was great, and I enjoyed it and stuff. But there was always that thing in the back of my head that I wanted to do piano, and in the end, I managed to sort of circumvent it and include piano in my final project and play with an orchestra, which was amazing. But all the way through my degree, I was like, I could have been doing something that I really wanted to do if I hadn't listened to that person. Because of my visual impairment, it so happened that I was the first one that did a lot of things. So, especially at music college, like for example, I was the first one that entered in this renowned piano competition. And like, I would get serious pressure being like, oh, you're the first blind person to enter this competition, so you've got to play well, you can't mess up. And that kind of pressure is insane. Like, you're already getting enough pressure as it is because you're competing against seriously great like musicians. But why was it because of my impairment that they're adding that extra level?
It's like the opposite. Rather than putting you down because of your visual impairment, is more like you have to be more of a token. You have to do better than them, or not show us up, basically. Because
exactly. Because it's almost like if you do well, people go, oh great, but if you mess up, oh of course it's because they're blind.
For me, I always liked stories, but I think because for some reason my school focused very much on the fact that this was when I was still in Greece, that I was a musician, I was a singer, and even years later, that's what everyone focused on. Oh yeah, music. That's what you're gonna do when you go to university. And then I thought, I said I was gonna do creative writing, and they were like, "What? That's a bit out of the blue." I was like, "Yeah, I've been writing bits and pieces here and there," and they were like, "No, you're supposed to do music." So it's just. And even if that was the case, it's just a matter of trying, like giving it a go, because you would never know if you don't give it a go. But I think that there's almost, like you said, that pressure of, okay, you pick something, you have to be amazing at it.
I basically went through the same kind of choices that you went through, just a lot later. Well, first of all, I started doing law. Then I was like, oh, this is like it wasn't hard. That wasn't the point. It was boring. Like I hated it, but I loved, the money that comes with being a lawyer. And I was like, then I started getting into debates about politics, and that's why I chose politics basically as well. But then by the time I finished my degree, I wouldn't even turn the news on. Like I got sick. Like I hate listening to the news now. Just anything to do with politics, government, I just don't want to hear it. And finally I was like, I'm going to start writing some stuff and build a portfolio and maybe do like a master's in creative writing. Unless you do something you absolutely love university will kind of ruin whatever you do, because you do it so much that by the time you've finished, you kind of never want to do it ever again.
I'm lucky that I chose the right things, because I don't know, I feel like I was brought up with this attitude that you never quit on anything. And it's taken me a long time to realize that actually it's fine to quit, especially if whatever you're doing is not the right thing for you. I was in a job for a very, very long time. And after a while, things just got a little bit, I just wasn't maybe fully happy. Like I wanted to try something new. And I stuck it out for ages. And then, I could say I waited until the right sort of job came along. But also, I think for my mental well-being, I probably should have left a lot earlier. There's this great saying by Noel Coward, the musician: work is more fun than fun. And I want to get to that point, that I have a job that's so much fun that it doesn't feel like a job. Wouldn't that be a great thing to aim for in life?
Yeah.
I went to uni straight from college back in 2012, and when I went to go and look at all my options and what I wanted to do, I did originally want to look into midwifery. And I'd had a lot of bad experiences going to interviews and doing the examinations and things like that, with some unis not even wanting to provide me with large print exam papers. In the end, my mum, she took me into the college where she works to speak to a lady that did midwifery in hospitals, and she did a nursing course at the college. And she said to me, I have to be honest with you, that any university has to, by law, allow you on their course and support you as much as they can. But she's like, I have to be ruthlessly honest with you, that once you leave the university environment, there will be no job for you. The NHS is not in a position to start providing for disabled nurses or midwives, and in all honesty, no patient is going to want you when they know that you're visually impaired. I kind of had to put my tail between my legs and admit defeat, and so I just went through clearing and just kind of took a course. I think I did criminology and behavior, just for the sake of having something to do, to feel like I hadn't failed. And I really struggled. It affected my relationship with my family for a while. It affected how I felt about myself. I was in and out of jobs and trying to kind of find myself a bit in different jobs for about 3.5 years, when I was I've always wanted a career with animals. And like I said, went to this open day and was really inspired. I'm fed up with people telling me I can't do things. I want to go out and I want to prove that I can.
Those are all good stories, actually. I wasn't expecting the answers to the questions to be so detailed, but this was all good just to hear all those perspectives. So that's awesome. Now my final question to you guys is, I know at the beginning of the interview you guys were saying, or I don't know who said it, but you guys are hoping that the podcast becomes more well-known, bigger in scale. Where do you guys see PS Unblind in about a year or two from now? Where do you see it?
So obviously we've started now. I've recently started a gaming channel on YouTube called PS Unblind Gaming. I want to continue with that. Hopefully do more as more accessible games come out and more accessibility features come out. I want accessible games to have a platform on my channel where people can see that, not just, oh, look, this game has accessibility features, but okay, how do you actually play this game with the accessibility features? Because especially with The Last of Us 2, you need a tutorial just for the accessibility features. And there's one in game, obviously, and it all reads it out to you, but I think it's not detailed enough in my opinion. And also, yeah, the accessibility is amazing. I could play it from across the room. I didn't even have to look at the screen once I knew what I was doing. But there was no audio description. So in the cutscenes, no idea what was going on. no idea what sort of room I was in. I mean, I could see because I was sitting right close to my screen. I could see what was going on. But Mariam was sitting on the sofa and listening to what was going on, basically. And there was a bit where I was walking across this kind of like a makeshift bridge, sort of made out of like a metal bit of a building that had fallen down or something, and it collapsed while I was walking across, and I fell down. And Marion was like, "What happened?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I just fell down a bridge, like off a bridge thing that collapsed." And she was like, "Well, a blind person playing on that on their own wouldn't even know what happened there. They just hear a big noise and a crash. They wouldn't even know that they've climbed up to the point where there's a bridge, or they wouldn't be able to see that." That's what I wanted to do on the channel as well. I wanted to start playing games that I really love and enjoy, and audio describe them as best I can, so I can be like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I can see that I'm doing. And that way, blind people who maybe can't play those games because of accessibility features can kind of watch me and get a gist of the story, because video games have really, really good storytelling. Like, I always say this, I think it's my second favorite form of storytelling. Yeah, other than gaming, sorry, I think I've gone on about gaming for like 20 minutes. Obviously, we wanted to do like, we've opened an Instagram that Ree's basically come on board and helped us with that as well. She's kind of taken over it basically and made it her project, but she's really good at it. So we've done an Instagram. We want to also do like maybe like travel vlogs and little how-to videos maybe, but I mean everything's all a bit up in the air now, to be honest, because of what's happening in 2020. So we're just all waiting until everything clears up basically, and until Mariam finishes her degree as well, because obviously that's really important right now to finish and get out of the way.
That was the original idea, to vlog our traveling. So that would be nice to go back to that idea, but also to be posting more videos on YouTube. The gaming videos are great, and you should definitely go check them out at PS I'm Blind Gaming. But other general day-to-day stuff that the rest of us might come across, or new things that we might learn how to do, I think it would be really great to vlog those and put them on maybe a separate YouTube channel.
God, the sky's the limit with this thing, isn't it? If people like what we're doing, rate the podcast, listen to us and stuff, and I just hope that it can educate some more people. Get, somebody has given us feedback saying that it's sort of made them think about things differently. So that's great.
I had a comment on one of the videos the other day saying that this has brought a whole new gaming perspective to their life, and they sort of thanked us for doing that video.
Yeah,
so.
But the holiday thing would be amazing, because I've never seen a group of disabled people just going on holiday being represented on telly like that. I've seen like the odd, one or two people going or something, but just like a group of friends, I've just never ever seen that represented either on film or actually in real life. Because of course it's going to bring up certain challenges and certain ways of doing things and some funny things, and I think it will be a really good thing to document.
Oh my god, like that like when we got into a stranger's car in Orlando, like randomly.
That is a story. Yeah, I feel like
Have we already said that story?
I feel like, yeah, but there's so many stories that we can tell.
It's all about the stories that people have.
Yeah,
that's what people are interested in ultimately.
Yeah, I think that is, like, for me, it's about what I would like anyway is really, if we can branch out to more people and do more guest appearances, put all of our stories out there, the weird and wonderful, the shocking, the hilarious, the maybe hopefully inspiring to people that really need to see that they can do whatever they want to do, and that you're not a second-class citizen, you're not going to contribute to the world, you're not anything less than what you can make yourself, and what you believe you can do. And I think, just because you have an impairment or a disability, like, you are a wonderful person, a unique human being, and you have talent and you have abilities that other people able-bodied or otherwise, don't have, and you have something to bring to the table and to contribute to the world, and there is a platform and there are people just waiting to see your potential, and just for people to know that we care and we're here and we're one and the same, and never doubt your worth or your capabilities.
Couldn't put it better.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you to all of you guys for just being a part of this. I'm really glad that the five of you were able to be part of this, because it's really tough to get the 6 people together for a conversation like this.
Thanks for having us. Honestly,
yeah, thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Juan. Thank you
it's been a real
for
pleasure
approaching us.
And if
and
It
organizing
was
this.
great chatting.
If anybody wants to reach out to you guys, your social media accounts, your podcast, where you be found, let the folks watching know about that.
Okay, yeah. So you can email us at psimblind@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter and message us on Twitter at psimblind. You can also follow and message us on Facebook, which is p.s.imblind, and also Instagram, which is psimblind. And we look forward to hearing from you guys. Thanks so much for listening.
Like they said in the podcast, if you guys hung on till the end over here, then awesome. And yeah, so go check out PS Unblind, and I will see you guys in the next video. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
So, like I said, go check out PS Unblind, and not just the episode that I'm in, but the other episodes they have as well, because they've also had several guests. Lucy Edwards, the YouTuber, she's also a recent guest on the show. So anyway, thank you for, like I said, hanging on till the end over here, and I will talk to you folks next time.